everyone, I'm Natasha, and today we are going to be reviewing Fiction Faction's Book of the Month, and that is A Crown of Wishes by Roshani Chokshi. Chokshi. Myself, Zoe, Marine, and Hannah have been reading A Crown of Wishes. If you're watching this video before May 5th, 2017, our live show for A Crown of Wishes is going to be on May 5th, and if you are watching this after, then I'll have it linked down below. We are going to be fully discussing this book, so I'm not really going to go into too many spoilers. I think I'm probably going to make this a spoiler-free review because I also really want to talk about The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani Chokshi. These two are companion novels. They do not need to be read together. You can read this one by itself or you can start with this one first. But I highly suggest definitely reading The Star-Touched Queen just because these books are mostly world-building stories. These are high fantasy novels. There's a lot of fantasy, there's a lot of mythology. It's all about Indian folklore. That is the bones of these stories, and they're set in the same world. You meet the main character in this book, and you also meet the main character in this book as well. So I feel like you could read this one first and then read this one, but it's a little bit of a spoiler. I feel like Roshani's gonna write another book in this world, and I would love to read it because I think we met a character in the third book. It's not on Goodreads or anything. I haven't really gone too in depth with my research about it, but I would love to see a third book. One of the characters that got introduced into this one, I just fell in love with. I think she was my favorite of like both of these. The Star-Touched Queen is actually a retelling of Hades and Persephone. We meet Maya and there's a fortune told about her future, that her marriage is going to be the end of the kingdom. Her father respects Maya, but he is also afraid of her. Maya is a princess along with Gari, who is the main character in A Crown of Wishes. These two are sisters, they're half-sisters. So they have the same father who was the king of Bharata. I listened not really to the audiobooks for both of these because I have never had such difficulty listening to audiobooks before than when I came upon these books. The writing is so lyrical and beautiful and sing-songy. It's actually really hard to keep track of these stories listening to it. I had such a hard time. Now, it did help with pronunciation of a lot of the things because there's a lot of new words that you're learning while reading these stories. I would listen to a chapter and I'd be like, what just happened? And I would go back and read it even though I had just listened to it. It did not process in my head. I wouldn't suggest the audiobooks unless you're an auditorial learner because the only way that I could actually understand the story with the audiobooks is if I actually gave it my full attention, and that's not the point of audiobooks. The point of audiobooks is being able to do your laundry and to drive and to listen to it while you're doing your makeup. It was not possible with these books, and I think that just goes to show that the writing was just absolutely beautiful. Like, if you love like the beautiful lyrical writing and that straightforward writing is not your thing, or straightforward writing is your thing, you might have a hard time with these books. But like Laini Taylor, Daughter Smoke and Bone, if you love those stories, I would even say this is kind of like a classical fantasy book, like Lord of the Rings kind of. It's written not really in that fashion because when I was reading it I could really just zone in to the story and I was just fully immersed into the world. Not like some classic stories where it's just like droning and droning and droning and droning and it's just like so boring. That was not the case. I will have the links down below to A Crown of Wishes and The Star-Touched Queen. This video has been kindly sponsored by St. Martin's Press. They sent me A Crown of Wishes, but I bought The Star-Touched Queen myself and I read that last month and then I went straight into A Crown of Wishes. It was really hard for me to pick a favorite because I think I preferred the characters in A Crown of Wishes more than The Star-Touched Queen. The Star-Touched Queen was Roshani's debut book, and you can tell how much her writing and her storytelling has improved when we got to A Crown of Wishes. I haven't even told you what this book is about yet. I mean, I kind of did. There's like Indian folklore. Maya just kind of gets taken into the other world. This one is more of a mystery and trying to figure out like what happened. What are the secrets that this other world is holding from Maya? This one starts off really, really strong. It gets a little lully in the middle, and then at the end it's just like, wow, there's a lot of excitement at the end of this book. And A Crown of Wishes, it's the same deal. I think this one started off really strong. It's more of a journey. Gari, who is the female protagonist in this book, you get to see her point of view as well as a male protagonist, which is Vikram. Gari is the princess of Bharata. Vikram is the fox prince of Ujjain. These are two competing kingdoms. Gari's kingdom gives up their princess and they want Ujjain to basically kill her. Apparently she did something. something. So Vikram has been sent to tell her that, you know, this is her last night. But Vikram has something he's keeping secret. He has been invited to the Tournament of Wishes. It had been prophesied that he was going to meet his match partner, and that match partner is Gari, and he convinces her to escape from the Ujjain castle, and they go off on their journey to this other world. It's in the other world, kind of. It's a whole different world. Both kingdoms don't really have magic or fantastical creatures, fantastic beasts. We meet different creatures and people. It's very fantasy, so you just kind of have to take it for what it is and understand what Roshni is telling you. She's telling you a story, basically a legend. Like, both of these books feel like you are reading a legend of Indian culture. There's romance, there's peril, there's excitement. I feel like The Star-Touched Queen is more exciting than A Crown of Wishes. Even though we go into this Tournament of Wishes, I didn't really feel the competition. It was a very laid-back competition because there's not just like single games where you're up against different contestants. It's a bit like a scavenger hunt where you're just teams and you're going out to find certain things and to accomplish certain tasks. And at the end of the game, you win a wish. However, for the humans, meaning Gari and Vikram, if they lose their lives. So there's a lot more at stake. Like I said before, I really preferred the characters in A Crown of Wishes more than The Star-Touched Queen. There was a lot of banter between Gari and Vikram of A Crown of Wishes. I love that stuff so much. I love the sauciness of Gari and then just the playfulness of Vikram. There were some really, really good comebacks and just like poking at each other. It was a lot of fun reading these two characters and just reading their conversations. In both the stories, there are some grotesquely lovable sidekicks, like literal sidekicks. Like, I feel like Gari and Maya are like Disney princesses, but like higher stakes and just more craziness going on because they had like these sidekicks. Like Mushu and the stupid chicken in Moana, they both had those type of sidekicks and I loved it. This is just gonna get a teeny bit spoilery if you don't want to know anything about these stories. There was a sidekick that was named the Vetala. That was what its species was. It was just really just gross. And it had to like climb onto the backs of Vikram and Gari to get anywhere. The Vetala cackled, roping bony arms around his neck. Faster, donkey, faster! I just thought that was so funny. It just really reminded me of Gollum from Lord of the Rings. The Vetala raised his arms like the most grotesque infant. Pick me up! Grumbling, Vikram swung the creature onto his back. The Vetala promptly rested his chin on Vikram's head with a delighted sigh. This thing is gross, and yet it's like kind of cute. And then there was a horse in The Star-Touched Queen. You're scared of the horse at first, and then it just becomes so lovable. I love what Roshni did with the side characters. I don't think I've been able to read a book like that. It was very Disney. The plot in each story is very slow paced. You would think because they're entering into a tournament that it would be a lot faster. I'm really used to super fast-paced fantasy stories, and that is not this at all. Even though you're reading such beautiful writing and the characters are so well-rounded and they're both standalone fantasy novels, it's not like the most exciting story I've ever read that's in like this type of genre. That's what I like in this genre, is I like that fast-pacedness of the story. Like, compared to contemporaries, that's just what I like when it comes to the fantasy kind of sci-fi genre. Anything that's not of our world, I just like my stories like that, fast-paced. There is so much magic. I don't think I've ever read a story like this. Not like, you know, Harry Potter where there's wands and stuff. Even the similar book to this would be The Wrath and the Dawn. So I'm looking at it over there. I can't remember what it's called. It's similar to The Wrath and Dawn because of the cultures, but The Wrath and Dawn is more Arabian because it's, you know, it's a retelling of 1,000 Nights. The Star-Touched Queen is of Indian folklore. However, I think that Roshni's books are just a bit more mature. I think these books take a reader who love fantasy. This would definitely not be the first book to read if you have not read in the fantasy genre. If you tried out fantasy things, if you liked, you know, ACOTAR or Throne of Glass and stuff like that, not really Throne of Glass, more ACOTAR, you might want to take the step into reading this. Like Sarah J. Maas blurbed the first book. There's not, you know, a lot of like the romance that Sarah is known for. It's still like heart-fluttering and very lovely romances in both books. So that is my non-spoiler review of both A Crown of Wishes and Star-Touched Queen. I will be looking forward to discussing this more in depth in our live show discussion on May 5th. Please join us in that discussion. I'll be looking forward to talking about it with my friends. If you want to get your hands on either of these books and you're intrigued by the idea, I will leave both the links down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Natasha. I make videos every Thursday. I'll see you all in the future. Keep calm and fangirl on. Bye!